As you can see, I've been hovering around in here and really taking this to the next level of realization. Um, really getting some subtle variations in tones, trying to really take that big general idea of light and dark and refine it more and more. Lots of the time, I should say, proper English and all. Just barely putting the charcoal on the paper. And so I'm just letting the weight of it move back and forth. And that's what's giving me a lot of those more subtle tones. Not pressing with this tool, but just barely touching. And you can see I'm also really going over, I push in, some specifics. I might even, tap to pull some charcoal off, or tap with the eraser or with the chamois cloth. And then generally I'm not leaving that alone, but I'm going back into that space and glazing over that whole thing. Remember that glazing is a really great tool because it allows you to have a space that has multiple tones and push the whole space a tone darker and still have all those different tones show up. So, for example, down here, the bottom of the abdomen, I've got darks and lights already set up, but the whole thing is in shadow because it's curling away from the belly button and away from the light source. So really lightly going over that whole space knocks it down a tone, so I get a separation of light and dark between here and here, but it still maintains those subtle things that I was trying to push in there. The other thing I'm doing is in spaces I haven't worked. Like I know there's some shading I've put in up here, but if I need to brace my hand, I put my pinky down in a space that doesn't matter. What was I talking about? Oh, bracing my finger. And then I can be even more delicate wherever I feel like I need to be, because my hand and arm aren't flying out here in space. I have a little more control as I just work this back and forth in one space. You can see I'm leaving fingerprints up there. And I'm just aware of that and know that later I will be wanting to fix those. So that keeps me from resting my hand on here and doing this, because especially with my charcoal, you can see the palm of my hand, what's that, the palm, the heel, is still really clean. It's my pinky that has charcoal on it, and that's because I've been doing that. And that saves a lot of your drawing from getting ruined by your touch. So as you get into the more finishing stages, you're looking for more and more subtlety, more and more small things happening, not the big things like we did at first, where we're just blasting charcoal all over the place. Now we're going in and just really refining, still not thinking necessarily that everything's in the right place, or that anything's right, but zeroing in on things and letting the patterns of light and dark start to inform me. One of the real beauties of this is that as I continue to work this way, if the pattern of shadows I see inside this triangle right here, if they won't fit, then I know there's something wrong with my drawing, and I'm going to fix it. I'm going to look for how to fix it, figure out what the solution needs to be, and then I'm going to make that adjustment. So I'm still at this point willing to move things around. It's just those movements aren't really big movements, they're just little micro movements to try and refine things and get things closer to where they really need to be. Always closer is my goal. Not trying to get to the finish line yet. I'm just trying to get closer. Each pass over each one of these parts that I do takes me a little bit closer to my goal. That's all I want, is each time for it to get closer in appearance to what I see here.